Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I spent all morning finishing up planting the lavender around my fountain in the backyard, and it looks so good. It looks so beautiful, but I spent most of my morning on that project, so I don't have much time for another project today, but I still want to do something. So after that, I was out here taking a little break, having a snack and some water, thinking about what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. And I think what I'm going to do is something that I've been putting off for quite a long time, which is repotting my oldest houseplant that I have. This houseplant, it's a peace lily. I think it is like 15 years old. Maybe not 15, maybe 13 years old. It is definitely much older than my kids, and Sadie is 12. She'll be 13 in August. So it is I can't believe it. I can't believe I have a peace lily that old. Now, I know a lot of you probably have houseplants that are way older than that, but this is definitely one of my first houseplants and the oldest one I have, the biggest one, and I cannot keep this thing happy now. I think because it's so root bound and peace lilies like a lot of water, I can't keep it happy. So I definitely have to repot it, prune it, possibly even divide it. It's kind of going to be a big job, but it's a job that I can do in the shade, which is exactly what I want to do right now. Okay, so here it is right here. This is my monster plant. I absolutely love this plant. It's such a great plant, and it's so nice and big, and this is the perfect spot for it. It's right by a window, right by my front porch, you can see, and so it's a perfect spot that gets a lot of indirect light. Other plants are really happy up here too. That's why I have this ficus. These are from Proven Winners. This one, I have my little teapot that I got at the Plant Foundry when I went to visit them. And then I have two more of my leaf joy plants over here that are really fun. And then this is Starlink. So if anyone has any suggestions on how we can hide that ugly thing, I would appreciate it. But this beautiful plant, I just love it. And I want to keep it in the same pot because I really like this pot. So I'm just going to just replenish the soil, prune off a bunch of the roots, prune off a lot of these old leaves. And it's not going to look great when I redo it, but I bet it'll bounce back really quickly because peace lilies, they can handle this type of treatment. They actually respond really well to this type of treatment. I have just been slacking on doing it. So today's the perfect day to do it. So I'm just going to take this whole thing out to my potting bench behind my office. I think that'll be the perfect place to do it. So if I make a mess, it's no big deal. Give it some fresh new soil, take off a lot of the roots, take off a lot of the old leaves, and I think it will be very happy. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me. This is my potting area, and I like this area behind my office because it gives me a place where I can make a complete mess and not worry too much about it. And I really like having places like that. So all I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna try and get this plant out of the pot. It's probably pretty rooted in. So I'm just trying, I know this looks weird, I'm just trying to squish the pot, which is just gonna loosen it up. Oh, not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not too rooted in. That is so funny. So I potted this plant up at a time when I was reading about these Leica balls, and I put them in the bottom of the pot because it's supposed to help with drainage. I don't know if that's a thing. This was like 10 years ago, right? I don't think I'm gonna put those back in, but anyway, you can see it's not that rooted in, but it definitely needs, the potting mix needs to be replenished because it's just so old. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna try and get as much of this old stuff off as I possibly can because I want to replace it with new stuff that has nutrients in it. And I'm gonna be replacing it with a mixture of stuff. I have some compost, I have some potting mix, I have some soil conditioner, which is just kind of like barky type soil. That's just gonna help with drainage. And then I also have some perlite that I'm gonna put a little bit of that in. So just a whole complete mix. This is actually way better than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna be a disaster. And then when I have it out of the pot, I'm just gonna start taking off some of these leaves from around the edges. I am pleasantly surprised. This is not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I think I had it all worked up in my mind that it was gonna be this huge job. So that's why I haven't done it in, I'm probably like 3 years behind on doing this. It's been struggling for like 3 years, which is so sad. I'm a little mean to my houseplants. I used to be super into houseplants. Like that's how I got started in gardening, was houseplants. I loved houseplants. And it got to a point, one of our houses was literally covered. There was houseplants everywhere. And I remember people would show up and be like, "So you like plants, huh?" Not in a good way. It was still really fun. I really enjoyed it. But now that I have more space, that was a rental house, so I didn't do any outside gardening. So I was getting all my gardening out with the houseplants. Here's a closer look at the plant. So if I was to divide this, if I wanted to put them in smaller pots, I could easily divide it by just taking like this chunk off here, this chunk off here. And these are all brand new plants, or these could be brand new plants. But since I took it out and it's not actually as big as I thought it would be, and I still want to repot it back into this pot, I'm just going to leave it. I think it'll be fine. And I really think the main thing this houseplant needs is it just needs some new soil, some new fresh soil for sure. And this makes sense why when I would fertilize it, I'd water it and fertilize it, and a nice, beautiful new leaf would come out, because it's probably just starving for some nutrition. Okay, I'm just going to put it in here temporarily. Oh, look at that root. Look at this root. I'm going to put it in here temporarily, and then I'm going to discard this old soil. I'm just going to throw it in my compost pile. Okay, now I'm going to mix up my mix of soil, and you don't have to do this. You can just get regular potting soil or houseplant soil, but I just kind of, I don't know. It's almost like this stuff is going to be too dry for it. It has a little bit of perlite. The compost is going to be a little too heavy for it. Perlite helps with drainage. And then planting mix, I think, just doesn't have enough nutrients for a houseplant. So I think by mixing them all together, I think it's going to be a lot happier. But again, you don't have to do that. If you watch videos, though, of houseplant people, they make their own mixes, and it's so interesting because they all have their own kind of houseplant mix that they swear by, and I love kind of looking and seeing what they do. It's so scientific. It's really interesting. All right, that looks good to me. And I'm trying to work pretty fast so this guy doesn't dry out. I think ideally I should sterilize this, but I'm not going to. It's fine. There's no disease. So perlite is an amendment that's really, really common in planting in pots because it helps with drainage. I personally hate using perlite because the dust bothers my lungs so bad. So really I should be getting a mask for this, but I even used to get a mask and I would still cough with the perlite. So just be really careful and make sure you're outside in a well-ventilated area. And if you're going to work around it a lot, I would get one of those like ventilator masks just to be, extra careful. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to get the soil in amongst the roots. So I keep kind of shaking it and tucking the soil in so that the soil goes in between all of those roots, which is exactly what it needs. I have to say, this takes me back to when I just started gardening, doing all the houseplants. Not really starting with my obsession with outside yet, but still really loving the houseplant stuff. If I had more time for houseplants, I would probably do houseplants more. This house isn't great. It's a ranch style house and it doesn't have a lot of light, which is really common in ranch style houses. So it's, there's only a couple areas in my house that are actually good for houseplants. I do have some plant lights, but of course that's not as good as just natural light. I have this plant, and then I have one other plant that I got as a cutting from my grandma. And those are the two plants that I make sure that I take care of and water every week. All my other plants, I'm not the nicest to them, let's say. When I get really busy, I definitely push off watering them. I'm telling you, I had worked this project up in my head like it was going to take me hours. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm taking off all the bloom stalks, because when you take off the old green bloom stalks, it actually promotes new growth of the white bloom stalks, which is what you want on your peace lily plant, honestly. And then I'm also taking off any leaves that are looking kind of old or brown around the edges. That's funny. I got one bloom stalk up here, and that's it. Okay, that's great. I'm very happy with this. Okay, so now I'm gonna water it. And like I said, peace lilies like a lot of water, so I'm really gonna saturate this. But first, I'm gonna give it some fertilizer. And I've been fertilizing with this stuff. This is called Bloom. This was developed by my friend Sam, who's a horticultural, I think he's a horticulturist or a horticultural specialist. He lives in Chicago, and back when I was doing my podcast, I actually interviewed him for a podcast. So you can listen to that. He's really sweet. But I really like this stuff, and Proven Winners is actually working with him to use this stuff too through the Leaf Joy line. So this stuff is really good, and the reason why I like it is because you can just pump it in. Like, I usually do 2 pumps for this guy. I'm going to do more just because it just got repotted. But basically, you can just pump it into your houseplant. I usually just take this to my sink, pump some fertilizer in, and then I just water it. So here's what I want to know. The water that's coming out of the hose is really hot right now, and I always let it cool off before I water my plants. Does the hot water from a hose actually affect plants? I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm gonna look it up because I really want to know that, because I waste a lot of water while I'm waiting for it to cool down. It's still warm right now. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna water this until I see it coming out the bottom. I'm looking down here for it to come out the bottom. There we go. And then I'm just gonna clean off all the foliage. Might as well give it a good dusting while it's out here. Okay, so I'll let that drain, and then I will take it back inside, and it should be refreshed and looking beautiful in no time. Okay, so I just looked up that thing about the hot water coming out of a hose. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Like during the summer, you turn on the hose and it's like scalding hot. And I think having the hose link in the charcoal color, the hose is wound up in this container right here. And because it's dark, it's basically heating up the hose, the water in the hose. So the water that comes out of my hose initially is like pretty warm. And I feel like I'm wasting a ton of water because I'm letting it flush out for about a minute before I water anything. But I just looked it up and it said that is exactly what you're supposed to do. Actually, it goes both ways, too cold and too warm. You're supposed to let your hose flush for about 30 to 60 seconds, because if it's too warm, it can actually basically cook the cell walls and scald the roots and burn the foliage and all that kind of stuff. So you're supposed to let it run cool. And if it's too cold, same thing, you're supposed to let it run for a little while, because if it's too cold, it can actually affect the roots as well and affect development. So the more you know. You guys might have seen the massive geranium matarense, or giant geranium, behind me in this Vigo bed. This is one plant. This whole giant thing is one plant, and it was blooming beautifully. It's pretty much finished blooms. I have like a couple blooms on there, but it's pretty much finished, and it is a short-lived perennial, and it won't bloom again after it's already bloomed once. So I can pretty much cut this guy back. I am looking for pups. I kind of want it to set seed and then create pups, so that I can have more plants. So I'm kind of leaving it there for that. And then also, I think there's a dove nest in here, because every time I walk over here, a dove flies away, and I'm pretty sure it's flying out of this spot right here. I keep looking in there to see if I can see eggs or babies or anything like that, and I can't see anything. So this is on my list of things to cut back, but I think I'm not going to cut it back just yet. One, because I want the seeds, and two, if there's a dove's nest in there, I want it. I love having doves around here because I love the noise that they make. I just love it. So I'm just going to leave it alone, but if you guys see this in the background, yes, I know it's a monster. It is what it is. So while I'm waiting for my peace lily to finish draining, let me give you all a little bit of show and tell, because it's the beginning of June. It's not time for my June garden tour yet, but there's a lot of really, really beautiful, beautiful things right now. So let me just give you a quick show and tell. Not quite a garden tour, but a little bit. First off, I need to show off my Daisy May Shasta daisies. I love these things. They are so, so beautiful. They're such a classic plant. I just absolutely love them, and I want more in my garden. I have to order more for next year. But they have the Nyphophia around them that I think is looking really pretty. And then all this color over here that's looking good. I need to mulch this area up. But the Daisy May Shasta daisies, man, when those are in bloom, they are just some of the most beautiful plants. I absolutely love these guys. And then we have the Peachberry Ice Heuchera over here in front of my Plain the Blue Salvia. I have some Orange Blaze Nyphophia over there. But I gotta tell you guys, the Heuchera is just absolutely stunning. When you catch it right and the light is kind of glowing through them, they are so, so pretty. This is a definite plant in your garden. I want more of them. I think they're beautiful. I'm enjoying them absolutely so much. Oh, I just noticed one of them died. What's going on there? Probably watering. Yeah, the water is not even on it. Okay, well, I need more of them. I need to replace that one. But the ones that are doing good, man, doesn't that look good? That is definitely a plant I would recommend. And then I know I talked about this plant in, I think, yesterday's video or the day before. I just can't get over this. This is such a beautiful, beautiful plant. This is Pugster Amethyst. There's also Pugster Blue. I'll show you guys. But this one, there is just something about this plant. I am just so obsessed with it. It's gorgeous. I am going to have to come in here and deadhead some of them. But I'm just, you know, waiting a little bit until there's more. But look at these. Aren't these so pretty? Oh my gosh. I'm just obsessed with that. And having the raspberry superbena right next to it, and then the lemon cypress behind it, this whole combination is just really, really pretty. And then just over here, I have my Vibrant Virtuoso dahlias. Look at how good those looked. I cut these way back. They came back. I'm in zone 9B, so dahlias come back for us. But look at how gorgeous they are. I have never had a dahlia that blooms as crazy as this. And my mom actually sent pictures of hers as well, and she was pleasantly surprised with how good these do. These are kind of hard to find at the garden centers lately, I think. I've been hearing from you guys that you guys are having a hard time finding these, but if you find them, get your hands on them because they are really, really good dahlias. They look so good. And my pink cashmere river is starting to fill in behind it. It's looking real, this is turning into a garden tour, but it's starting to look really, really good. And here's the Pugster Blue Buddleia. Now this one, it's beautiful in real life, but I don't think it comes across on camera as well as the Pugster Amethyst does. But in real life, this one, it is just so beautiful. It's such a good Buddleia. My goodness, as compared to the other varieties that don't bloom as much or get really, really tall and lanky, the Pugster series is just really, really incredible. And it did take, you know, a couple years for these guys to kind of get settled in and everything like that. But give it a couple years and it is just so beautiful with the El Nino right next to it. Isn't that just, oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. Oh, it's looking so good these days. And then finally, up by my zigzag planter that's looking so good, I got the best compliment yesterday. Shay told me this was her favorite planting in the zigzag planter. She likes the color combination. So I appreciated hearing that, you know, from her. You know, hearing it from your kids, it means a lot. But I did want to show you my hanging baskets. I actually cut back all of the Supertunia so that I could plant this Diamond Frost Euphorbia, and the White Angelonia could kind of catch up a little bit. And now that I've done that and I've cut everything back, it looks really good, especially with the Dichondra Silver Falls. It's just looking really, really pretty once I cut it back. So this is going to fill in even a little bit more, and they are just looking gorgeous. Anyway, I think that'll be it. Thanks for sticking with me for kind of a random video. It just, my schedule was all off today because I had to work on the lavender around the fountain this morning. Then it started getting too hot, but I still wanted to film another video. I'm sure you guys know how it is once your schedule gets off. But I appreciate you all sticking with me and watching. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.